Brooks and Capehart analyze Trump's labor statistics, firing, and Gaza situation. What happens when a president's desire for control collides with institutions trusted to give us the facts? This week offered a lesson that's as dramatic as it is unsettling. But here's where things get heated. President Trump's decision to fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the very agency responsible for delivering our monthly jobs report, came right after a disappointing economic update. He accused her of manipulating the data for political purposes. It's important to note, while White Houses often highlight strong job numbers to their advantage, criticism and skepticism surge when the news turns unfavorable. This move has ignited debate not just about the economy, but about the basic integrity of our public data. David Brooks, New York Times columnist, didn't mince words. He explained that institutions like the BLS and the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, are staffed by professionals deeply committed to impartiality. Their only goal is accuracy, not politics. Brooks insists that authoritarian-leaning governments often lose sight of this objectivity, creating an atmosphere where honesty with leaders becomes almost impossible. The result? Executives are surrounded by skewed information. Ironically, Brooks argues, the economic picture isn't as dire as it's being painted. Jobs grew by over 70,000. And while Trump's tariffs have strained households and slowed growth, reducing family income by around $1,000 a year, according to economist Jason Furman, the predicted recession hasn't fully materialized. The underlying concern, Brooks notes, is that firing a neutral statistician signals a dangerous attack on our nation's referees. When you undermine the umpires, how can you trust the game is fair? Jonathan Capehart of MSNBC doubled down. He compared the president's actions to the infamous line from the musical The Wiz, "Don't nobody bring me no bad news." Trump has set a precedent, Capehart believes. Take credit for good numbers, scapegoat others for the bad, and when all else fails, remove those delivering uncomfortable truths. The chilling question now, can journalists or the public trust economic data released in coming months if political pressure is shaping the narrative? This, Capehart argues, serves no one, regardless of politics. Here comes another twist most people overlook. The power of perception and public image in global crises. When the White House sent officials to observe the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, President Trump changed his tone, acknowledging the suffering of Palestinians for the first time in a much more personal way. Meanwhile, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a loyal Trump ally, became the first Republican member of Congress to call Israel's actions in Gaza genocide. Is this a fleeting media moment or a sign of a broader shift in America's political landscape on Israel? Brooks believes it's a shift rooted in recent events. After months of prolonged conflict and widespread devastation, even some of Israel's staunchest supporters are reevaluating the situation. Civilian casualties, government and military missteps on all sides, and failed interventions like the doomed Biden-era Gaza port all feed into mounting frustration. While Brooks stops short of labeling the situation genocide, he does call it an example of ruthless and reckless warfare. Interestingly, he points to a small glimmer of hope, the Arab League's unanimous vote urging Hamas to step down, free hostages, and vacate Gaza. A shift suggesting even longtime opponents see an opening for change. Don't miss the controversy here. Should America continue military support to Israel? What happens to Washington's long-standing bipartisan consensus? Capehart points out that more Senate Democrats than ever just moved to block U.S. weapons sales to Israel. What's most jarring, though, is Trump's reliance on TV images to form his opinions. Despite being the most highly briefed individual in the world, Capehart says the president is focused on public relations, not real leadership. Is that what America expects from its commander-in-chief? Meanwhile, former Vice President Kamala Harris emerged for her first TV interview since losing the 2024 election. She told Stephen Colbert that America's democratic safeguards aren't as strong as they need to be. A reason she's not running for California governor or any other office right now. Harris worries the system itself is fundamentally broken. Brooks, offering compassion for those battered by political loss, saw both merit and weakness in Harris's comments. While gubernatorial systems are working well around the country, Brooks says her point about widespread capitulation is deeply troubling. Across the world, be it in Israel with judicial reforms or other nations under pressure, people rise up when power centralizes. Today, Brooks warns, few Americans appear willing to stand together, leaving the door open for leaders to chip away at our collective strength. Capehart, who watched the full Harris interview, interprets her decision not to run as a move toward self-care. Harris, he explains, plans to travel the U.S., listening to citizens without the expectations of office seekers. She believes leadership is everyone's responsibility, not just one person's job, a point echoed in her remarks about the Democratic Party's future. And this is a part most will miss, but it matters. Capehart, after 2 decades at the Washington Post, recently left when new management insisted all opinion writing must center on personal liberties and free markets and maintain an unrelentingly positive tone. Capehart asked, "How can you trumpet good news when so much in the country is clearly in crisis?" All these moments spotlight an urgent question. How much should the public trust information coming from government agencies when their independence is under attack? Should journalism be patriotism, even when the facts are painful? And when leaders seem more focused on optics than action, what does that mean for democracy and accountability? Whose side are you on? Do you believe objectivity and honesty are possible in government reporting? Or is every statistic now up for debate? Let's hear your thoughts. Agree or disagree? Let's discuss what's at stake in the comments below. Trump orders firing of BLS director over revised jobs data controversy. In a surprising turn of events, President Donald Trump has called for the dismissal of the individual responsible for overseeing the monthly employment statistics, following a disappointing jobs report that revealed a significant slowdown in hiring during July. This report also indicated that the job creation figures for May and June were substantially lower than previously reported, raising eyebrows and concerns. In a post shared on his social media platform, Trump accused the Bureau of Labor Statistics of manipulating the employment data for political gain. He specifically targeted Erica McEntarfer, the director of the Bureau, who was appointed by former President Joe Biden, insisting that she should be removed from her position. "I have directed my team to fire this Biden political appointee immediately," Trump declared on Truth Social. "She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified." The jobs report released on Friday revealed that only 73,000 jobs were added in July, a stark contrast to the previous estimate for May and June, which were revised downwards by a total of 258,000 jobs. McEntarfer, who was nominated by Biden in 2023 and took office as Commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics in January 2024, is a political appointee and, like others in her position, can be dismissed at any time. While commissioners typically serve 4-year terms, they are the only political appointees within an agency that employs hundreds of career civil servants. Trump's criticism was particularly directed at the revisions made to the earlier job data. The job gains for May were adjusted down from 125,000 to a mere 19,000, while June's figures were slashed from 147,000 to just 14,000. With only 73,000 new jobs reported for July, the unemployment rate saw a slight increase from 4.1% to 4.2%. Still considered low by historical standards. No one can be that wrong. "We need accurate jobs numbers," Trump expressed in his post. He emphasized the importance of having fair and precise employment statistics, arguing that they should not be subject to political manipulation. She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. Important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes. The monthly employment report is a critical indicator of the nation's economic health and is closely monitored by investors and economists alike. Disappointing job figures can lead to significant fluctuations in financial markets, and on Friday, the U.S. market indexes fell by approximately 1.5% in response to the news. While political narratives often surround job numbers, it is worth noting that economists and Wall Street investors, who have substantial financial interests at stake, have historically regarded U.S. government economic data as reliable and free from political interference. But here's where it gets controversial. Can we truly trust the integrity of these numbers, or is there a hidden agenda at play? What do you think? Are the job statistics being manipulated, or are they simply reflecting the current economic climate? Share your thoughts in the comments. Trump's labor official firing, impact on U.S. economy and Fed reshaping. A turbulent shift in U.S. economic leadership, unpacking controversies and implications. In a dramatic turn of events that has sent shockwaves through the financial world, President Donald Trump recently dismissed a prominent official from the Labor Department, alleging, without any evidence, that she had manipulated crucial job figures. This move comes directly after a notably disappointing jobs report that highlighted a significant weakness in the U.S. job market, raising serious questions about the integrity and quality of economic data disseminated by the government. But here's where it gets controversial. Trump is not done shaking things up. Along with this dismissal, Fed Governor Adriana Kugler unexpectedly announced her resignation, giving Trump an opportunity to influence the Federal Reserve far sooner than many had anticipated. This is particularly striking, given his ongoing tensions with the Federal Reserve over interest rate policies. What sparked this dismissal? The series of events was ignited following the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, disappointing report detailing the creation of just 73,000 jobs in July. Even more shocking were the downward revisions, which revealed that 258,000 fewer jobs were created in both May and June than earlier reported. Responding to this data, Trump accused Erica McIntyre, who was appointed by former President Joe Biden, of falsifying job numbers, a claim that lacks any supporting evidence from the BLS, the agency responsible for compiling this vital economic information. In a statement on his social media platform, Truth Social, Trump expressed his dissatisfaction. "We need accurate jobs numbers. I have directed my team to fire this Biden political appointee immediately. She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified." Concerns over data quality. A White House official who requested anonymity indicated that there have been growing concerns regarding the accuracy of economic data, particularly as revisions for recent statistics have been substantial and troubling. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, the quality of economic reporting has come under scrutiny, with issues stemming from lower participation rates in surveys that are critical to gathering accurate data. This decline in response rates has dropped from 80.3% in October 2020 to around 67.1% as of July, causing alarm among economists and policymakers who rely on these statistics for informed decision-making. A Reuters poll revealed that nearly 89 out of 100 leading policy experts expressed at least some reservations regarding the integrity of U.S. economic data, with a majority feeling that authorities have not been proactive enough in addressing these concerns. The shrinking sample size for key reports such as the Consumer Price Index, a critical indicator of inflation trends, only exacerbates this issue. Political influence on economic reporting? Trump's recent actions have raised alarms about the potential politicization of economic statistics. Michael Matowitz, a principal economist at the Roosevelt Institute, cautioned that compromising the credibility of such data could undermine public confidence. Politicizing economic statistics is a self-defeating act, Credibility is far easier to lose than to restore, and the validity of America's economic data is pivotal to our strong economy. Misleading the public about economic conditions can have dire consequences. A shift in Federal Reserve leadership. Kugler's unexpected resignation presents Trump with a significant opportunity to reshape the Federal Reserve's governance sooner than previously expected. Historically, Trump has been vocal about his discontent with Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, who has resisted the administration's calls for interest rate cuts. With the vacancy left by Kugler, Trump can now nominate a new Fed governor to finish her term, which lasts until January 2026. This appointee could potentially be groomed as a candidate for a future chair of the Federal Reserve. Speculations about who Trump may select are already circulating. Possible contenders include his economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and former Fed official Kevin Warsh, among others. As Trump prepared to leave the White House for the weekend, he remarked on the significance of Kugler's resignation, suggesting it presented a unique opportunity. According to Derek Tang, an analyst, it's not so much the political motivations behind Kugler's departure, but rather that she's putting the onus on Trump, challenging him to act on his demands for influence over nominations. In light of these unfolding events, what is your take on the relationship between economic data integrity and political motivations? Do you believe this move will ultimately benefit or hinder the efficacy of our economic policy? We invite you to share your opinions in the comments below.